Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. My name is Kyle, and as always, I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man whose best friend was the first creature to crawl out of the ocean, my dad, Tim.
His name was Ruffles.
Ruffles?
Yes.
He now owns a chip company.
He does.
So
But he didn't at the time. He was just, I'm Ruffles. He had
Good
ridges.
speak coming out of the ocean, huh?
Good, yeah.
I love it. It's perfect.
By the way, as we were coming to our studio, why are you limping?
Because I did leg day after work yesterday, and now I want to cry. So if you guys see me whining at all during this show,
Don't call me old because you were walking like you were 104.
yeah, well, I also just did 20 reps on my legs alone yesterday.
20 reps.
20 sets. Sorry.
20 reps.
20 sets.
That's all you can do is 20 times, huh?
That's all. So, there were some weights I was pushing that I could do 5 times towards the end. So I went all out. I have a goal in mind, and
You ever going to be able to do the stack with your legs? Because that's what I used to do.
maybe. I can't right now. I got 3 plates on each side on the leg press machine last night, and did that quite a few times, and then cried for a while because it hurt.
You need a cane right now.
My leg seized up on me this morning, but that's good. It's progress. I'll take it. I've done that to my chest. I've done it to my arms. My leg day, for anybody listening that works out, leg day is the worst because it hurts so bad.
You know what hurt me yesterday? I get a brand new Cobra driver. It's not to the right spec, so I'm going to have to get a different one.
You don't need to tell this story.
And Kyle takes it out and says, okay, I'm going to swing this, and swings it like an axe into the ground.
I was on uneven ground. The dog ran in front of me as I was swinging the club.
You took out a pile of dirt.
I did, with a driver.
Thank God you did not break off all the plastic on it.
Yeah, it was bad.
Good Lord.
Listen, the dog literally ran right out in front of me as I was swinging the club. I was trying not to hit the dog.
Dog, new driver that we have to take back.
New driver. The
dog will recover.
The dog will be fine.
PETA, don't come after. I was just kidding. We love Cooper.
No.
Yes, we do.
I don't want the dog.
That was just awful.
Proof again why this dog shouldn't be here.
You love the dog. Don't even start.
I'm going to start. But I had to wear my flower shirt today. We are actually seeing nice weather.
Really? Have you been outside today?
Not today. Yesterday was beautiful. Tomorrow's going to be gorgeous. It is actually coming in to be in spring. Yeah. I wanted it. So listen, I am going to wear the bright spring colors to make it happen, to believe I am done with winter.
We have 3 days of spring.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin. And yesterday was one of them. Tomorrow might be the other.
Right. My
friend Charlotte sends me pictures from the beach yesterday.
I get them from Florida too, and I hate them all. But you know what? We get white Christmases here, which is awesome.
It didn't snow.
All right, Wisconsin sucks for weather. But the summer times here are gorgeous.
That's true. And I love the fall.
I am just going to wear colorful things until summer actually arrives. I am going to believe it is going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen by what I wear. Exactly. I wore my sailboat shirt the other day. I'm wearing flowers today. Tomorrow I'll be even more obnoxious.
I'm still wearing my thermal underwear. And
Right.
Yeah.
It is still pretty cold out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do me a favor, as you always do, follow right here, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a video, and you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. This show is filled with absolute nonsense, but we love making this show. We love doing the father and son talks, and today I think we have finally hit a point where you and I are going to have a conversation.
Really?
Because the disagreements on the subjects we have today, I think, are finally going to hit generational to a head.
To the nth degree.
And it's going to get ugly, because I'm going to have to tell you you're wrong. I'm going to have to prove to you that you are wrong.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to start right here in saying the Chiefs may have found a way that every NFL team will follow going forward, which is you build a Super Bowl team, you find one player you can flip, and you get a bunch of draft picks to rebuild that team again.
Okay, well, then using that logic, then Green Bay did it, but they haven't gotten anybody yet. Deebo Samuels is still out there. DK Metcalf is still out there. By the way, the Packers should trade.
Yeah, you just mentioned two players that are still on
A.J.
teams.
Dillon to get DK Metcalf.
I mean, I have no problem with first-round pick and A.J. Dillon for DK Metcalf. It makes perfect sense. You flip a six-round pick over to Detroit to bring back Jamal Williams. I've been saying that for a while. But it not talking about players that are on other teams right now. Look what the Chiefs just did. They trade Tyreek Hill. They pick up some wide receivers in free agency. And now they got 5 draft picks to try and build this roster up again. If they hit on even half of those draft picks, meaning they get 2 starters and a guy who's a special teams player, they are going to continue to win.
You know what the Chiefs have? They've got a quarterback who gets it, who realizes he doesn't have to be the top paid quarterback in the league.
What are you talking about? He just signed a $500 million contract.
He did, but it was still team friendly.
At the first few years.
When have you ever seen a contract in the NFL go the extent? He will renegotiate.
I'm hurting.
You're
Leave
hurting
me alone.
Bad. He gets it. He's going to sign a team-friendly deal. You look at players like Kyrie Irving, or I did do it. You made me do it. I said it right earlier.
You did. Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray and Rodgers, they signed me deals. And Tom Brady,
Kyler Murray, you can't say that. Kyler Murray hasn't signed a deal. Aaron Rodgers
be traded
signed $50
too.
million, but he's only $28 million against the cap.
I expected him to be like $15 million.
I understand what you expected, but $28 million against the cap for Aaron Rodgers is not bad.
It is when you can't sign anybody else.
That's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. He was $47 million against the cap. Last year, he was $35 million against the cap.
And how does that work out for him?
He has his lowest cap number since he signed his extension back in 2017.
Okay. Let's go back. Tom Brady always took less, and these were really cap-friendly deals, and he had a dynasty.
Yeah, he also has a wife that makes $70 million a year.
Even without the wife, he was signing cap. Do you want titles or do you want the money? And I don't begrudge any players for getting their money, but realize if you go and you get it all for you.
But I think the Chiefs are finding a way where you can have both. What's been the biggest issue with teams? Russell Wilson gets his big deal. All of a sudden, they can't keep all those defensive players. All of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers gets a big deal a few years ago. We have to make some changes. You look at any of the quarterbacks, they get these big deals, and now you can't sign as many people as you used to. What was the whole name was you need to win while this quarterback is under his rookie deal because then they're going to get paid.
But Mahomes gets in. He signed a cap-friendly deal with his team so they can make these moves, and he will renegotiate long before that contract is over.
He's going to have to because his cap hit's going to be $50 million at the end of that contract.
Don't forget, though, the new cap comes in 23, 24. There's going to be a ton more money.
There is, but it's still going to be a massive contract that needs to be renegotiated. But away from that type of conversation, if the Chiefs, again, if they hit on this, they will change the NFL. We will see more trades in the NFL than we've ever seen before of star players because you will have teams that have a quarterback that get in win now mode that will trade for these big names, especially receivers, and give out these big contracts, and the other team's going to take draft picks, and they're going to rebuild their team.
Well, and everybody's been giving Green Bay just a bunch of grief about the Davante Adams deal. Wide receivers, when they get to be his age, generally drop off a little bit. Now, Davante Adams, he's shown no indication that'll happen, but they got a bunch of trade picks back for him. I don't think it was horrible that they let him go if they go out and get other players. This has been the most active offseason I've ever seen in the NFL.
It's been
I don't think
awesome.
we're done. And I don't think we're done.
No, I don't either. I think when the draft comes up next week, I think you're going to see a lot more moves happening. There's still free agents out there that are waiting for the draft to sign. This is a wide receiver stacked draft. And so you look at DJ Samuel, You look at, or Debo Samuel, I'm
Debo.
sorry.
Yeah.
I mixed up Debo Samuel and A.J. Brown. Because my next thing I was going to say was A.J. Brown. You look at McLaurin over in Washington. These guys all have the same agent. Go figure. They're all holding out for bigger deals. I could see these guys moving and seeing the draft and saying, hey, you know what? We can bring somebody else in.
Well, and honestly, if I'm one of those teams, I'm going out and getting an established NFL wide receiver rather than trying to get somebody out of the draft, because those kids that come out of the draft aren't going to perform
If
for
you're
2
in
or
a
3
win now
years.
mode, if I'm Tampa Bay, if I'm Green Bay, if I'm Indianapolis, if I'm
Kansas
teams,
City.
not even necessarily Kansas City, because you have Patrick Mahomes there for a lot longer. I'm talking about teams, you're not going to have these quarterbacks for very long. You're not, if you're Denver, you're definitely, now's the time to win. They just brought in Matt Ryan into Indianapolis to win today. Tampa Bay and Green Bay, they're not winning forever. This is a short-lived thing, so they have to win now. Those are the teams you're going to see make trades for these players.
Aaron Rodgers is only in Green Bay for another 2 years. I don't think it'll be more than 3 at the outside.
The contract's
Probably
for 3. I think he'll stick around for
gone.
3. It depends. If he wins a Super Bowl, I could see him just walking off into the sunset. And that's all Packer fans want. Just come in, win a Super Bowl.
You better see some movement. And look, I still think there's trades to be made and moves to be made that Green Bay can do.
I do too, but you're getting off my topic here.
Why? I proved
which
you
is
that you were
the
wrong.
NFL is going to change to where star players get traded more often than they ever have, and that includes quarterbacks.
They're doing what they always do, and they stay ahead of the game so that their offseason is the most relevant of any sport in America. Used to be baseball with a hot stove league, not the case now. And I think you're going to see Murray being traded possibly to Dallas.
You think Kyler Murray is going to Dallas?
I'll say it now. I can see that trade happening.
Why would Kyler Murray agree to go to Dallas? He literally has a team that's been built around him.
Jerry Jones. If you're Kyler Murray, do you want to play in Arizona with that ownership, or do you want to play in Dallas? I want to play in Dallas. And Dak Prescott, if I'm Dallas and I can trade for Kyler Murray, it's a done deal.
Do you want to play for the team that just traded for DeAndre Hopkins and signed J.J. Watt? Or do you want to play for a team that just cut Amari Cooper and is trying to get out of an Ezekiel Elliott contract that has been terrible for that team?
Just making my prediction. And J.J. Watt is at the very end of his career. He can't stay healthy, so that wasn't a big deal. I just think Dallas
it's a team that's willing to win for you.
Dallas has to make a move.
Dak Prescott is an amazing quarterback.
He is. Kyler Murray is an exceptionally.
Kyler Murray is playing in a system that works for him. Kyler Murray is 5'4".
We'll see. I'm going to lose on the 5 quarterbacks being drafted in the first round. I've got to come up with something else.
Yes, 5 quarterbacks are not being drafted in the first round.
That was really early in the process.
I don't know how you guessed that at that point in the process.
I thought it was going to be 4,
1.
5. Now I think there may be 2.
If that.
Nah, I still think you're going to see Pickett and.
You'll see Carolina probably go with a quarterback, but other than that,
I think you're going to see Pickett go, and I think you're going to see Willis. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm drafting Pickett all day long. He's going to sit behind Trubisky for a year.
He's going to fumble more than anybody else in the history of the NFL.
I know we did the thing with the football.
He's going to have more turnovers than Brett Favre had.
Not possible.
Right, because he'll be dropped before then. Anybody hits that ball out of his hands with 8.5-inch hands?
He's the most NFL-ready quarterback in the draft this year. I think you're selling him way short.
He's hit his ceiling. This guy's played 48 games in college. He's developed as much as he's going to develop. He is the quarterback he's going to be.
Again, you've been wrong every time we've had a bet. I'm setting myself up to lose for the first time on this show, and that's going to be painful.
That's fair. I'm not allowed to gamble for a reason. I'm normally on the
reason.
wrong side of history on these. But you are talking about, let's get back to Kyler Murray. You jump around and don't let me make my arguments
I
here.
know.
I thought I was ADD. This is crazy. Kyler Murray's not going anywhere.
He's going to Dallas.
There's no way. What is Mike McCarthy going to do with Kyler Murray?
He is going to use him. I just think it's a trade that makes sense. If I'm Jerry Jones, who is always on to the next bigger, better deal, I think he's going to want to get Kyler Murray. He sees him and he's thinking, this is my answer. And he's going to try to make a deal for it. Am I saying it's the best thing to do because Dak Prescott is a really, really, really good quarterback? Probably not, but I think he's going to try to do it.
Jerry Jones would love to have Kyler Murray there. He wanted Johnny Manziel at one point, but it doesn't make it the right choice. Kyler Murray, again, he's what, 5'9"? I mean, in reality, he's not a tall quarterback. He has to roll out. I think this dude's going to play baseball before he ends up in Dallas.
I don't think that. I mean, if I'm Seattle, I would be trying to get him. I think Arizona wants to move on from him. I don't think they're married to the guy the way you seem to think they are.
They literally, you traded released really a first round draft pick quarterback that you made the year before to draft this guy number 1 overall. Your coach has been in love with Kyler Murray since he was in high school.
Kyler Murray's not in love with Arizona.
Then he's not going to be in love with anywhere. You're not. You have a team that literally traded for the best receiver in the game at the time, in DeAndre Hopkins, to surround you with talent. If you're not happy with Arizona, you're not going to be happy anywhere.
Except if you've got the star on your helmet. It's about where and the glitz, and Dallas has the glitz. He's not going to L.A., but I can see him going.
You'll see Tom Brady in Dallas before you see Kyler Murray.
No, Tom Brady's going to be in Miami next year.
Yeah, because he's going to own part of the team.
Correct.
I truly believe that Kyler Murray is staying in Arizona. He'll sign the extension. They are tied to Kyler Murray now. I mean,
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. We're going to know on draft night.
We'll know on draft night. Draft night's going to be exciting this year.
It's going to be fun.
Because you're going to see more trades than you've ever seen.
And I wish we had and we still might have a live show that night. I would like to do that.
We might. It depends if you want me to get a divorce or not. I mean, we will have a live show.
We'll have a recap show. Let's put it that way.
We'll definitely have a recap show, but I'm pretty sure if I tell my wife on a random Thursday, hey, I'm going to go and do a live show, I'd sleep on a couch for a little bit.
Okay, next year we'll do a live show.
Next
Somebody
year
will bring
we'll
us in.
That's
we'll
fair.
do it.
Next year we can do the live show.
I don't want
this
you to get
year,
divorced.
It's going to be bad. I mean, honestly, I'm still trying to watch the new Batman movie at this point and stay awake. You know, I've started to work out at 5:30 in the morning. I'm just trying to stay awake for the draft.
Are your legs?
They're very sore. I'm comfortable now, which is a good thing. But again, going back to our first topic, because apparently you've decided to take this in a completely separate direction, is generationally football has changed with the way star players are looked at. Players are getting more control on where they want to play. And more so than that, teams are willing to make those trades, which is something different than that's happened before. Players have said, I want to hold out. Look what happened to Le'Veon Bell. Fine, sit out for the year.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Holdouts, they don't have the leverage because the careers are so short that they don't have that kind of leverage.
But they're starting to. These players are sitting out before they're even looking at a second contract.
But will that happen when the money gets so big? And it's going to balloon next year, the year after. You know, I think teams are going, yeah, we can backfill better than we can rather than just pay somebody. And Devontae Adams is a classic example of that. He's the best wide receiver in the league. And instead of, they said they offered him last summer this deal. I personally don't believe that, but
no, they waited too long like the Packers always do, and it led to him wanting out. I think he wanted to go play with Derek Carr. I think he loved the idea of playing in Vegas.
I think he's going to regret it, as all great receivers who leave star quarterbacks do.
And I think Sammy Watkins may have a better year than Devontae Adams this year.
Or DK Metcalf or Deebo Samuel, whoever the Green Bay gets.
Or Julio Jones. Just stack the room. Why not? You know one of them's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Julio Jones and Randall Cobb will probably get hurt, but I'd love to have them.
We only need him for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's all we need him for. We will win the division in the NFC North. I'm not worried about that at all. What I am worried about is the playoffs.
Kool-Aid with sugar tastes good. Of course they're going to win.
Kool-Aid with sugar does taste good.
Exactly. And Green Bay winning in the NFC North, of course it's going to happen because there's no competition.
No, there's not. But draft night's going to be exciting. I do think that the NFL has changed forever, officially, when it comes to the way players are treated, especially players that are coming into the NFL and are great for one season. They all of a sudden are going to want that contract right away. There are teams out there that are going to be willing to give those contracts, and it may not be the team that they're on.
Like the NFL is the absolute best league when it comes to keeping their game relevant throughout the whole year. They're trying to do something now with USFL, which so far after 1 week, I think you're going to see a star quarterback come out of the USFL. I think there'll be one. And we'll actually move into the NFL. I do think, especially going down the line, if they can keep this thing going long enough, you're going to see a couple stars come out of the league.
They got to fix the ball first.
The game is just not good.
Right. The USFL is using a different ball that's weighted different, which I think has been a big issue on why we've seen the quarterback play that we've in the USFL.
Well, it's only been 1 week.
Well, there's nobody there in the last few games. That's the issue with playing in Alabama the whole time is like, okay, we were there, we saw it.
And, well, you saw the stands for the second game I was watching last Sunday. You could have counted on two hands the number of people that were in the stands.
Right.
I mean, it's the heart of the Bible Belt, and you're starting games at noon.
Right. And you're playing on Sunday in Brigham, Alabama. Like, they were already out there on Saturday, and they're not going to be there on Sunday.
No.
It's not going to happen at all. So the NFL has officially changed for the better, but we will see what happens in the draft and what happens next year, because really, if these star wide receivers all flame out, I mean, that's going to be the end of teams making those choices.
Right now, wide receivers are what running backs used to be.
Right.
They're the big guys. They're the guys that the straws that stirs his drink on each individual team.
Right.
I don't think that's going to last. I think running backs are going to come back into the fold. They're going to be like the Aaron Joneses who can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Right.
You know, we've already seen that with, are you a wide receiver or are you a running back?
Right, but the wide receiver pay is obviously a lot more.
Exactly.
You know, Christian McCaffrey's the highest paid running back still, and he's at $16 million.
He wishes he was a wide receiver.
I think he's happy with what he got, considering he hasn't been on the field in 3 years for more than, 3 games in a season? I mean, that's why running backs aren't getting paid.
Well, and no, they aren't getting paid because they're not used the same way.
No, not unless you're Derrick Henry.
Correct. And he wants to be a wide receiver.
It would be interesting to see him as a wide receiver because he really doesn't come out of the backfield, but he is a great player, and I'm excited to see football in general next year because the USFL is boring as can be. It's exactly what I said it would be.
I would rather see the XFL with The Rock.
I mean, you're not doing anything different. All we're doing is seeing the same players that we've seen in D2 college. I mean, it's the same game with worse players. Why would I turn this on?
I have not been impressed at all.
Especially not with the NBA playoffs going on right now, which brings me to my next point.
Please.
Are the super teams officially dead? Has the NBA officially figured out how to stop super teams?
If game 1, Boston versus Brooklyn,
and game 2.
And game 2 is any example, then yes, they have. The Bulls certainly figured out Milwaukee in game 2.
The Milwaukee
done.
Bucks are not a super team by any stretch of the imagination. A super team is you have 3 of the top 10 players on your team.
I don't think you're going to see that anymore.
I think it's been beaten. I think people have realized how to stop it. Look at the teams that are rising right now. The Bulls don't have a top 10 player on their roster right now.
Rosen played like one.
He's a great player. I wouldn't say he's a top 10 player in the league by any stretch of the imagination.
He's going to lead them past Milwaukee.
The Bulls, the Bucks, they have Giannis, who's the best player in the game. And then you have a bunch of role players.
One of the top 2
Giannis
or 3.
is the best player in the NBA, period.
Kevin Durant may have something to say about that.
Yeah, let's see how he's played the last couple games. And by the way, the one matchup they had, Giannis won.
Because Kevin Durant had a size 12 instead of a size 11 foot.
if he steps back a little bit further, it may have bounced out.
If a dog eat, never mind. I won't go there.
Exactly. And that canoe will never exist.
Giannis is going to be going. Once he starts going downhill, you can't stop him.
No.
And he could score 40 or 45 tonight. He's going to be going downhill. Everything's going to have to run through him. If the Bucks win, it's going to be because of him tonight.
Right.
That's it. I mean, if they win any night, it's because of him. But
look at the last few NBA champions. I mean, you look at the Bucks. They had Giannis and a bunch of role players.
Yeah, it's not fair to Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday. They're two Olympians. You had Giannis.
Chris Middleton is a poor man Scottie Pippen. When Chris Middleton's on, he's on. When Chris Middleton's not on, he's pointless. I mean, Drew Holiday's one of the best defenders in the league, but you can't trust him making shots consistently. I mean, you got Grayson Allen, you got Brook Lopez. I mean, you have solid role players, but you don't have enough. I would argue that not a single one of the players on the Bucks team this year are even in the top 20 besides Giannis of players in the NBA.
It's not even like the Bulls of old where you had
Scottie was a top 10 player for a time.
Yeah, and Dennis Rodman was the best rebounder in the game. It's all he did, but that's all he wanted to do. He was a role player.
That's all he needed. You have the Golden State Warriors, who I think are going to win it all.
They are going to win it all.
Steph Curry is a top 5 player, but other than that,
top 5, top 1, 2,
yeah, probably top 3. I mean, that's fair. He's just been hurt the last few years and hasn't been the same player. But you have, I would say, top 5. And then you have Klay Thompson, who's really seeing time on the court for the first time. He was a top 10 player at one point. Is he still? I mean, and then a bunch of other players on there. You look at the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker's a top 10 player. Chris Paul is an aging star player. You have DeAndre Ayton, who's great. I wouldn't say he's in the top 10. I mean, you just don't have the best teams in the league right now. Are not the super team.
You don't
the one
have
super
the
team you had was the Nets, and they fell apart.
And
Harden left. He's like, I'm done.
I think Harden left because Kyrie just seems to be a cancer wherever he goes.
He does.
I mean, and he's got all the talent in the world, but he's not a number 1 player. He never has been. He isn't a good number 2. He could be, but he doesn't like being just that role player.
Well, and it's obvious Kyrie didn't like being told what to do by LeBron, and that's why he left. And Kevin Durant's not the person that's going to tell Kyrie what to do. Well, and I think Kyrie's a player that needs that. He needs somebody that's going to say, no, you need to be put in your place and do your job.
This year proved one thing, that LeBron is not a good GM.
No. Bringing in Russell Westbrook was not a good call.
No, it wasn't. And, the last true super team may have been the Miami when they had LeBron and Dwayne Wade and
Chris Bosh.
Thank you. That was a true super team. I don't think you're going to see it. I think you're going to try to get 2 people on the team and you build around them like Milwaukee has done. Chris Middleton was there from the start. Milwaukee's the one team who really has taken a long view at things.
Right.
And it finally paid off.
Yeah.
Is it going to pay off now? Chris Middleton is done, I think, for the rest of this year.
He's not coming back. The rest of the team's going to have to step up.
Did you see the article in the Milwaukee paper today? They had a doctor look at just the replay of what happened. And his comment was, yeah, that's not just the MCL. The ACL is involved in that too. So he thinks he's done.
I'm still trying to get past the fact that you are pretending that you read it in a paper.
I did. Well, okay, it was online. But I did. I still like newspapers.
You read the Sentinel
Journal
online.
Sentinel online. Yes, I don't
not read
a newspaper.
paper.
Yes, you're right. I did not buy a newspaper, but I do miss the days of Sunday newspapers.
Why?
Yeah, it was just something great about getting a Sunday paper and looking at, in my case, the Sunday funnies. Just that, if there's anything generational, that's it. Because Sunday newspaper used to be great. You'd wait for it. You'd go and pick it up when you get your coffee on Sunday mornings. You're looking at me like I'm got a brick.
I've never understood. Honestly, I've never understood the concept of the paper. And again, we're gonna go ADD on the show again and talk about other things. But this is, you got to explain it to me. I remember the paper kind of. It's still
There was
around.
no internet.
I know there was no internet, but
So you got
versus
your news.
today, like you say, you missed the paper versus
do.
today.
I
It
missed
was
the
such
Sunday paper.
a big thing to fold out. It ripped so easily. It was impossible to read.
There was something great about just being able to. Oh, it's like reading a book versus reading it online. I'd rather read a book.
No, that is very different. That is very different.
No, it's not, because I'd still rather read something I'm holding than something I'm just looking at.
I'd rather read a book too. I'm with you. It's much better to read a book, but that's different because that's actually a whole story. We're talking about getting news from a newspaper, and it's also not a flimsy piece of paper that rips super easily, gets ink everywhere.
Well, I did do that, but that's why you had Silly Putty for, to bring the images up, and I'm really dating myself now. But, there was Sunday coupons. Your mom and I used to save $200 on our groceries thanks to the Woodman's coupons and different things like that.
I mean, the same coupons you can just scan now with your phone and not have to waste everybody's time in line.
I never wasted anybody. You know me better than that. I never wasted anybody's time. It was let's go, let's go. I just liked the newspaper on Sunday mornings. I used to like reading, I don't know, Garfield and Farside and everything else that was in there. Anybody who agrees with me, please put in the comments that you really do miss the Sunday papers when you could actually hold them, when they weren't so slanted. You were just getting straight news for the most part. Yeah, your look on your face is just like, I'll never get it.
I do miss when news wasn't so in your face all the time.
I like looking at the box scores in the paper.
Sure.
But
I can find easily online.
There's something special about. Let's go on to the next topic.
It's your childhood. I understand. It's like me with
my
N64.
Adulthood too.
To this day, the Nintendo 64, in my opinion, is the greatest console ever made.
Go and buy one next weekend.
I have one.
Okay.
It's at Mom's house in storage. I just need to find it.
Then it may be gone.
It may be gone. It's very possible, but it still exists to my knowledge.
Who's being ADD? Reel you back in.
At least mine was actually on topic of, I said, okay, this was your childhood, just like my childhood. At least I segued to my point, unlike the top three teams. You know what's great is a newspaper.
I'm a bit ADD today, okay?
Back to the basketball thing. This is where, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because the big three's dead. I think it's coming back to building role players around, because the thing is people are going to get hurt, right? And especially nowadays, superstars are sitting out of games more than they ever have, which stops people from getting chemistry. You look at the Clippers, well, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard never really get the chemistry that you need because one or the other is always sitting out on different games. And so now it comes playoff time, and they really don't know how to work together. You're going to see a lot more role players that need to step up, and you really need to build these teams from the ground up. You got to be deep. It was different with Miami because those guys played every single night and stayed healthy, but they had nobody on their bench.
No, they didn't. They were very short bench team. A lot of the better teams never went much more than 6 or 7 deep. I mean,
you had role players. I mean, the only reason Miami had any role players at all was because LeBron convinced a bunch of people to take low contracts to come and win a title.
Yeah. And I don't see people doing that anymore. Everybody wants to be the star of their team.
I don't even think it's I want to be the star of my team. It's the realization of, hey, I'm not going to waste a year taking a minimum contract when on an open market I can get 10 times more than that.
Depends on how much they value a title.
Yeah. That's true. It's all part of it. I mean, it's all funny money at the end of the day for these guys. I get that. I just think that you're going to start seeing more and more teams win with one superstar and a bunch of role players beneath them.
I think a lot of it also has to do with the talent is getting more and more diluted. I don't see the same number of superstars that were in the league back in the early 2000s.
Right.
There's a few of them, and they're just being spread around. So to put a super team together, you're leaving. Well, and it happened. You know, the Minnesotas, the Milwaukees, the Memphises were left with nothing. Where now, and that was something that the NBA needed to address. They had to bring all the rest of the teams to at least being competitive,
right?
Or they're going to be in trouble. Memphis is making a great run right now.
They are.
I would.
They got John Moran, who's one of the most exciting players in the game.
Yes. Yeah, and
dude's jumping over people all the time.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's pretty amazing.
I mean,
I wouldn't want to be underneath when that was going on, but it's fun to watch from afar.
The Pelicans are still hurting. Hornets just fired their coach again.
They did, but they're heading in the right direction. I think Jordan's finally
becoming a GM.
Built a team over there, and I think that's why he fired his
nothing.
coach. Orlando's had nothing for a long time.
Since Shaq was there.
Right.
But we shall see. I mean, the playoffs have been off to a great start. It's going to be fun to watch and see where things go. I don't think it's going to be Phoenix and Milwaukee again this year. Excuse me. I think it's going to be Phoenix will probably get to the finals on the West and lose to Golden State. And I think Milwaukee might even lose to the Bulls.
I got to repeat.
What? You think Milwaukee's going to go through?
Yep. I do.
Okay.
I do. You got the Sixers there in their way. The Nets are about to be beat by Boston. Boston can make it all the way.
I think Boston
very easily. Boston's a solid team. Talk about a team that really, I mean, Jason Tatum's becoming a star, but they really don't have the star player. They are very much a team.
This has been the most balanced the two divisions have been in a long time.
In my lifetime.
Yeah. Before was always the West.
Yeah, it was the East when I was first growing up. Mm-hmm. You know, you had the Knicks, you had Detroit, you had the Bulls that just won all the time. Then it was the West was just the better conference forever. And now, it's much more even. If
Golden State stays healthy, nobody's going to stop them.
I think Phoenix is going to go again. I really think you could see a repeat this year. Boston, I think, come out of the East as well.
Not without Chris Middleton.
If the Bucks run into the Celtics, I think it will be trouble for Milwaukee. But I think they could do it. I mean, they just need their role players to step up.
We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, defense to defense, what's killing the Nets right now is they have no defense.
No.
And the Celtics have figured out how to stop the offensive power that is the Boston Nets, or Brooklyn Nets, sorry.
Nets. We'll see. I mean, look, Brooklyn's got to step up and get their game back.
Yes.
Milwaukee's got to figure out how to do it with their number 2 player. The West is being the most fun.
Gone.
Number 2 player's gone. So can they do it? No, I don't think so. I think they might even lose to the Bulls.
Got Milwaukee and Phoenix in the finals again.
Golden State and Philadelphia.
Also a good pick. Neither is picking Boston.
Not yet.
A lot of good things to say about Boston, but neither of us think they're going to do it. I don't think the Sixers could get past Boston.
Oh, I do.
We'll see.
We'll see. They're sneaky good.
Mine's 100% based on my fandom of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Of course it is.
So I am being 100% biased right now.
I'm sure nobody who watches this could tell who you were a fan of.
I'm picking Milwaukee sheerly because I want to see Milwaukee
win. We have
win.
people watching from around the country who are going, no kidding. You're a Bucks fan.
If we take the Bucks out, I think Boston's going to be the team to represent the East.
Philadelphia.
And I still think Phoenix is going to go. I think they got the experience. I think they got the squad. The Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, Western Finals will be one of the best series we've seen in a long time. It will be amazing. And I'm very much looking forward to it. We do have one more thing we want to talk about before we wrap up the show. As you guys know, we have been talking a lot more on logos and picking our best logos. We did last episode. We're going to do MLB this episode.
We did last episode?
We did pick logos last episode, NBA logos last episode.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking...
Your mind was like 15 miles ahead of your mouth.
It was. It happens a lot. I mean, anybody that's watched understands that I am way beyond what I'm trying to say at this moment by the time it actually comes out.
Enjoy it. I knew where you were going, but I decided I'd let everybody else know where you were going at the same time.
There's times where I just hope the muscles in the mouth keep up. That's all I want.
Okay, so
but we're going to talk
logos.
MLB logos. But before we do that, do me a favor. Don't forget to go right here, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making this show. MLB logos, greatest all time.
Okay.
I'm going to do something on my list right now, and I think you're going to do the same.
We got to get rid of 2 teams.
The Yankees are out. Because the Yankees have the greatest logo in all of sports.
Correct.
The NY is absolutely amazing.
Followed closely by, say it. I want to hear it.
I won't say it, but they're also off my
Come on.
list.
The Cardinals got the best logo.
It's classic. It is awesome. It's perfect. I agree. The Cardinals are also off the list. Because I think if we came down to it, both of us would just pick the Yankees and the Cardinals.
Yeah, and that's
the
no
greatest
fun.
logos in baseball, and I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that, and so we are taking the Yankees and the Cardinals off of our list because those are both of our 1-2. Yankees being 1, Cardinals being 2.
All right, and as far as a homer call, well, I'm a Cubs fan. I love the Cubby Bear.
You say that, yeah.
Cubby Bear that comes out
all the time.
The ball and glove logo. Number 1 is the best-selling logo in baseball.
Except for the New York Yankees.
Okay, I'll give you that. But it's a great logo. It applies to the team, and it's a great baseball logo. I love that one. I've always loved the Tigers when they did it right. I like the old school ones, like the Cincinnati Reds, Big Red Machine.
It's a good one.
You know, I used to love the Baltimore Orioles. I'm glad they went back to the cartoon character.
Yep. I liked the actual bird, though.
I didn't like the bird.
Yeah.
I used to like the Cleveland Indians logo. I don't like that. But for me, I'm going to go next best logo in baseball, Atlanta Braves. I love that logo. I always have. It dates back to the Milwaukee Brave era for sure, with the tomahawk under the Braves.
I mean, it definitely doesn't, considering the Atlanta Braves main logo is an A, and the Milwaukee Braves logo was an M.
No, but the Braves itself with the tomahawk underneath is classic, and I love it.
It is.
So
I mean, that goes back to the Boston Braves days.
Yeah,
you forgot 2 of the most iconic logos in sports, which is the LA Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants.
I didn't forget them. I don't like them.
You don't like the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants logos?
Not as much as I like it the Braves. I mean, they're just letters intertwined. The Yankees did it decades before.
It's perfect. It's a great logo. I love it. The issue in baseball is that baseball does have
They've got great logos. Kansas City's a great logo.
Kansas City's a great logo. I love the Cubby Bear walking through, the full Cubby Bear with the C walking through. There is one logo I have to pick in baseball as my favorite logo. I'm taking the Cubs out of this for the most part. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. I'm taking the Cubs out of this. The Washington Nationals W.
I love that.
Is my favorite logo.
I actually just ordered a hat with that W because I also love that.
Yeah, I remember when they first became the Nationals, I got a hat immediately.
I mean, that dates back to the Washington Senators days. It's the same logo and letter they used.
They changed it up a little bit by putting the loop in the middle, but
I think the old ones had the loop in the middle. I mean, I remember the Frank Howard Senators, and they had that same W. I loved it. It's clean. It's just great.
It is. I'm a big fan. I love everything they've done with the Washington Nationals. I even love when they do the American flag. I don't like the DC one that they do.
I don't think they're using that anymore.
I hope they got rid of it. I haven't seen it in a long time. That one was not good at all. I even like when they write out Washington. I think that looks great. When they write out Nationals, I think that looks great. I like all their logos as a whole, but especially the W.
Okay, so are we going with the Braves for me? And
I'm going with Nationals as my number 1 logo behind Yankees and the Cardinals. I am going Washington Nationals as the number 1 logo in baseball.
Okay, and because the Cubs logo is not the Cubby Bear coming out of it, It actually is the old C with Cubs spelled out.
It is.
You know, I'm taking the Yankees and Cardinals out as well. My next one would be the Braves.
You just picked the Braves.
I know.
I thought you were naming a different team.
I'm not naming a different team.
I clearly wasn't following along.
No, if not, I mean, if I'm going to pick one from the American League, you know, the Twins doesn't use the TC, which I love.
They've started to go back to it a little bit. Not as much.
I mean, I was there when they came out with the Twins and the bold print, and the TC, though, is always my favorite. But if I'm going to pick somebody, I think it's old school, it's classic, and that's the Detroit Tigers.
The Detroit Tigers were one of my top picks on the list as well. The D that they have in whatever font it is, I don't know. But it's great. I'm with you. I'm
not even picking my old team, the Angels. But
Angels, I'm not a big fan.
I've never been a fan. Logo. I've never been a fan of it, but I love Detroit's. That'd be my pick.
Detroit's is great. American League, if I'm going to go that route, I mean, you got the Mariners. I'm a big fan of the Mariners logo. The Oakland A's. I mean, how could you forget the Oakland A's?
The elephant.
Not even the elephant, just the A.
I like the A.
I think it's great.
They had growing up, they had the best uniforms because they were the first team really to have the yellow and the green, and they'd mix and match uniforms. Loved it.
Right. I'm not gonna pick the Cubs because, like you said, the C with the Cubs is not it, or the C with the Cubs written out is their main logo. If their main logo was the C with the Cubby Bear, I think that would be the best logo in all of baseball. So I'm gonna back off the Cubs. You got Boston. Boston is a great.
Red Sox is cool.
I don't know how you can go wrong with that. The B is great. The actual Sox is great. I have to go with the Boston Red Sox as my number 4.
I think we picked good teams, and it's a good place to end this.
Yep. I think so as well. But you let us know what you think in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a video.
I'm hoping for a win. That's why I'm just good luck.
This is 2 shows in a row that I am in the middle of doing the spiel of telling people, hey,
like and subscribe.
Check out our show on a regular basis. And you just decide to do random things as I am talking.
I'm a little ADD today, sorry.
I don't know what's going on with you. Apparently, you not eating jelly beans for 2 months was a bad idea.
Maybe.
Because you are all over the place today.
Sorry. Hope you enjoyed the show, everybody.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, do what I said before that he interrupted. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm not going to do the spiel again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Any last words before we head out? No, you said enough.
Love your families.
Yeah, you said enough. But wait, we're not done yet. And now we're done. Thank you so much. This has been Sports Talk with Dad.
Bye, everybody.